All right, well, it is a minute after 1, so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting, the SKIP meeting for August 15th to order. My name is Dana Ralph, and I'm the Vice Chair of SKIP, and will be chairing the meeting today in place of our wonderful Chair, Mayor Nancy Backus. So we'll go ahead and call everything to order. And Claire, if you could please call the roll.
Absolutely. City of Auburn, Nancy Backus, so she is absent today. City of Kent, Dana Ralph.
I am here.
Thank you. City of Burien, Liz Steed.
I'm here.
Welcome. City of Covington, Christina Soltis.
I am here.
Welcome. City of Des Moines, Jean Axiger.
I'm here.
Welcome, Jean. City of Federal Way, Brian Davis. He did let us know he was going to be running a few minutes late. So we'll mark him when he gets here. And City of Maple Valley, Victoria Schaff.
Here.
Welcome. City of Normandy Park, Eric Zimmerman.
Hey, folks.
Hi, welcome. City of Renton, Carmen Rivera. All right. Or alternate there, James Alberson. Nope. All right. City of SeaTac, James Lovell. Don't see James. And City of Tukwila, Thomas McLeod.
Here.
Welcome. And King County, Sonari Marshall.
Here.
Welcome. Thank you, Vice Chair.
All right, thank you so much. So the roll call serves to identify the executive board members that are on the call, but we also like to recognize other attendees we have. And particular person I'd like to call out, we've got Phoebe Anderson-Klein from our advisory board in attendance. Phoebe, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Phoebe Anderson-Klein. I work at MSC as our Economic Opportunities Director in Federal Way. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And I'm excited to be here.
All right. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for the work that you do on the advisory board. We're very grateful. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Claire and ask her if she could recognize any of our staff work group members that are in attendance.
Absolutely. So if folks could just introduce themselves, I will call on you. Angie, you want to go first?
Sure. Angie Mathias, I'm the Long Range Planning Manager for the City of Renton, and supporting Carmen Rivera and James Alberson on the Executive Board.
Thanks. And how about Laurel? Are you there?
Hi, thank you. I'm Laurel Humphrey. I'm Legislative Analyst, City of Tukwila. Thank you.
Thanks. And how about Evan?
Good afternoon. Evan Maxim with the City of SeaTac, supporting James.
Thanks, Evan. Marina.
Sorry, you picked me right when I was trying to move my screens. Marina Hansen, I am the Human Services Manager for the City of Kent, supporting Mayor Ralph.
Wonderful. And we also have Diane. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Diane Glover. I'm the new Deputy Director of HCD in King County. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Welcome. And Dorsal.
Oh, hi. Dorsal Plants SKIP Program Coordinator. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. All right.
Is that good, everybody?
We have Dennis Martinez also attending.
Hi, Dennis Martinez from City of Tukwila.
Thank you. That's it.
All right. We will move on in the agenda to public comment. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment, or has any written comment been submitted?
We have not received any public comment.
All right, then we will go ahead and move on to the approval of our July 18th, 2025 minutes. Is there any changes, additions, or questions before we call for the motion? Okay, seeing none, a motion would be in order to approve our July 18th, 2025 SKIP Executive Board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Tom in Tukwila.
I got Tom for the motion. Who was the second?
Christina.
Okay, thank you, Christina. So we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries and meetings will stand as published. Next item is changes to the agenda, and I'm going to ask Claire about changes that we've got to our agenda.
So yes, we actually do have one item to modify the agenda. We have moved the item TWG from updates announcements to the last item under board business, but there were no supplemental handouts for this item. So we'll be in a verbal discussion.
Perfect, thank you. All right, that will move us right into our board business. And the first thing we have today is our SKIP Legislative Forum. So at our July 18th Executive Board meeting, the Executive Board discussed the proposed agenda and outline for our September 19th, 25 Legislative Forum. Following that, the board members completed a survey to provide further feedback. And today we're going to review the updated agenda and run a show which incorporates all of that feedback. So with that, we'll turn it over to Claire.
Thank you. All right. Let me get myself in order over here. All right. All right. So thank you. So you should have two documents in your agenda packet sent by me on Friday, August 8th at 5:12 p.m. relevant to this conversation. These include the outline of the legislative forum and the agenda for the forum. These have been updated since you last saw them at our July meeting together. You should also have a third document relevant for this conversation sent to you on Wednesday, August 13th at 5:12 p.m. titled Talking Points, SKIP Legislative Forum. We'll be going over the information in the outline and agenda, but the talking points are really for your reference. So let's review the background on this topic. So at the March Executive Board meeting, the board directed SKIP staff to begin planning a legislative forum in advance of the 2026 legislative session. Knowing this was of interest to the board at the April and May Executive Board meetings, the board, reviewed and approved the 2026 work plan, which incorporated the planning and execution of a SKIP legislative forum in odd-numbered years. At the May meeting, we reviewed a draft outline of the legislative forum, and you provided feedback, including a desire to focus the scope on South King County's state delegates rather than including county council members or federal delegates, and to hold the event in the fall and not at peak vacation season in the summer. At our June meeting together, you confirmed that September 19th at 1 p.m. Was the best date and time. Because it is the same date and time as our regularly scheduled September meeting. So that just happened to be very convenient. At the July meeting together, you had a productive conversation about what should and shouldn't be part of the forum. During the meeting, the board reached consensus about having the forum, even if it was to only highlight that good work of SKIP. To further explore consensus on additional topics pitched at the board meeting, I did send a survey out after the meeting, and we'll go over those results in just a few slides. Excuse me. All right. So these next several slides will cover the key aspects of the information contained in the updated outline document in your agenda packet, but feel free to pull that document up if it's helpful for you. We covered a lot of this in the last meeting, so I won't spend too much time on it. But what is the purpose of the SKIP Legislative Forum? Well, it's to convene state elected officials with the SKIP board to uplift and amplify the good work of SKIP to address the shortage of affordable housing in the subregion as a unified, coordinated, and collaborative voice. Additionally, the purpose is to show South King County's strength on the topic of affordable housing to demonstrate the power of the SKIP coalition to state legislators. Skip will be represented by you, the board members, as you requested last meeting. Additionally, Dorsal and I will be there. Staff work group members and advisory board members will attend in a supportive role, and the advisory board members will attend also as greeters. We have invited the entire state delegation representing South King County. And as of yesterday, we have 3 confirmed yeses. This is from Senator Alvarado, Representative Hackney, and Representative Stearns. We have yet to hear from 20 people, and we will talk about how you can help with that shortly. We'll also be inviting the Association of Washington Cities, HDC, and representatives from the governor's office. So the what, when, and where. So this is a 90-minute forum. This includes 30 minutes of speakers. That would include myself, Mayor McLeod, Mayor Ralph, and council members Lovell and Schroff. 60 minutes of roundtable discussions. The first roundtable would be about the Housing Capital Fund projects. The second roundtable would be about the legislative priority. We can use the legislative priorities flyer that we'll review in the next agenda topic for these roundtable discussions. The when, Friday, September 19th from 1 p.m. to 2:30. And again, a reminder, this is in lieu of our regularly scheduled monthly meeting together. And we will hold this at the Tukwila Community Center. We have a large room reserved there. So how are we going to carry out this event? So you can see on the slide the action items for Dorsal and I, including developing an invitation in the form of a flyer. So this has been done and was included in the invitation email that you were BCC'd on to the state delegates on Thursday, July 24th at 12:55 p.m. And that flyer was also included in your agenda packet. I'll be inviting the non-state delegate audience members next week. Unified talking points, as mentioned earlier, those were sent to you Wednesday by me at 5:12 p.m. I would be happy to prepare individualized talking points for those serving as speakers, and I will do that in the next few weeks for you all. Event setup and tear down, noticing of the meeting, and we'll bring snacks and water. For your role, executive board action items. So you were sent a spreadsheet with the current RSVP list and the contact information of the state delegates in the agenda packet sent last Friday. The spreadsheet contains the list of all the South King County senators and representatives and their contact, and includes a board member assigned to each delegate. My ask is that if you see your name assigned, please personally invite that senator or representative. We haven't heard from 20 delegates, and you all will likely get a better response than I will. And so again, a reminder that you were BCC'd on the email invitation to them. So you can forward that along with the event flyer to them and attach a personal note if that is the way you'd like to communicate with them. Alternatively, feel free to reach out to them by text or by phone if you have an established relationship with that elected. If you do send an email, also included in the RSVP spreadsheet are the names of your fellow board members here that share a legislative district with that senator or representative. So please consider CCing those individuals for their awareness. And we'll take a look at the assignments on the next slide shortly. So for those who are speaking, who have speaking roles, I would ask that when you do receive the talking points from me, that you just review them and give me a thumbs up or modify them however you would like. That will be very helpful. Unless you tell me you absolutely don't need or want talking points, I will just plan to do that. The staff work group did recommend that the executive board members themselves facilitate the roundtable discussions. So that will be an important role for you all at the forum. And finally, the most important action item for those that can attend is to show up in person. And if you aren't able to make it, please let me know as soon as you are aware. So here is this is just I would say a snapshot. This is a part of the spreadsheet, the outreach assignments that you have, but I just wanted to just kind of help you visually connect what that spreadsheet was and how to look at it. So I did hide some columns just for sake of space on this slide, but you can see we've got the district, the legislator, the RSVP status, and then which board member is assigned to reach out. And when you do open up this spreadsheet that was included in your agenda packet email, you'll also see another column with the additional board members to consider CCing when you send those invitations. I see a hand raised. Yes.
Thank you, Claire. If you do hear from any of them that are on the list that are not indicated yet, would you reach out to us to let us know? Because otherwise, I have reached out to my legislators, and I'll be given another phone call too. That would just be a text and email, but I don't want to sort of double up if they've already, at any point, they've already responded. So just wondering, give us a
Great.
shot.
Yes. That's a great idea. And on the flip side too, I would ask two of you all, if you do get the RSVPs, don't assume that they're letting us know. If you could just either forward it or just communicate that to me, that would be very helpful to me and Dorsal. Thank you.
It looks like Carmen has a question as well.
Are we allowed to help with others? Because I'll be honest, Renton is mostly the 11th, and I have a better relationship with my 11th LD reps. The 41st is no longer been in Renton. I definitely can reach out to Janice and Lisa. It's not a problem at all whatsoever. Even though I don't think Lisa is. Don't we have? Isn't Kaufman? Never mind. I'll figure it out. But yeah, can we help out with other people? Because I have a better relationship with the 11th.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thomas, how do you feel about letting
Carmen's help is always welcomed. If she wants to reach out to, because we already had one commitment of Hackney. If she wants to reach Bergquist, I'll reach out to Hasagawa. He lives here in Tukwila.
I'm in regular communication with both, so I can do whatever.
Oh, go ahead then. Go ahead if you're in regular, and I'll focus on some other things for the event. Thanks, Carmen.
No problem. No problem. Here to help.
Thank you. Awesome. Perfect. And the only difference in what you're seeing here versus what you were sent is Senator Alvarado did RSVP yesterday. So Liz, that's one less outreach you need to do, unless you were responsible for that RSVP yes, in which case, many thanks. Anything else on the outreach assignments? I know Mayor Backus isn't here. She is assigned quite a few, so I will try and get on her radar about those. Unless somebody else would like to volunteer, since she's not here to confirm. Does anybody have relationships with the 30th or 31st?
I'm actually in the 30th district.
Oh yeah, okay. Would you be willing to do that, Jean?
I can reach out to Claire and Jamila.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, because yeah, Rep Reeves is a maybe, so they've already confirmed their status. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Also, one question is, are we going to include a map or directions to the Tukwila Community Center? Last time I was there, it's kind of confusing with the closure of the bridge. Or not, the bridge is one way, so
Okay, we can certainly do that if you think that would be helpful.
I think it would. There's a detour route, so it would be helpful.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
We can work, yeah, we'll work with Tukwila staff on that, make sure we get it right. Thank you, great suggestion.
And
So-
Claire, sorry.
Go ahead, Christina.
It's been a minute, but I can reach out to Phil Fortunato in the 31st.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
And Sonari, I saw your hand pop up, but then it went down. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that probably the more likely to respond holds for everyone else on the board except me. I don't know that they're more likely to respond to me. And I was going to ask about overlap, and then I remembered in my head where the 37th district was, and that's just us. So I'm working with our GR team to figure out the right approach, because I don't think these folks know me any better than someone who walked in off the street. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. Anything else about the assignments?
I think we've got a good plan.
Great. All right, let's move on to the next slide. All right, so regarding survey responses to the question about the content of the legislative forum, we had 7 folks respond. Thank you to those who completed it. And for those that didn't, I will let you off the hook this time. Everyone that responded supported the legislative forum's objective of amplifying and informing about SKIP's accomplishments, and including members from the SKIP Advisory Board as greeters at the front door, and assisting with event logistics. We did not have consensus on the remaining items, which were discussed as potential topics at our last meeting together. So between 2 and 3 folks for each of the topics didn't support providing the opportunity to share the individual city perspective, whereby each jurisdiction could have the opportunity to speak to issues unique to them, addressing the desire of cities to maintain local control in their planning efforts, addressing the desire to allow jurisdictions time to implement the extensive legislation passed by the legislature in recent sessions before moving on to new legislation that impacts planning efforts. So because of this, we're going to stick to the topic of amplifying SKIP's work for the forum and having the advisory board members participate as greeters. So in terms of the agenda, I'm gonna swap my share screen real quick. Give me 1 minute. I'll pull this up. Here we are. And we will go over that. Okay. All right. It's taking a minute. All right. Are you seeing the agenda? Okay, good. I got a new device, so
I think we're seeing your talking points for this.
Oh, that's not good. Let's not do that. You don't want that. Let's try this. All right. 1 minute.
So we appreciate your level of organization.
You're like, oh no, you have insight into my my process. All right. Okay, hopefully.
There we go.
Does this look better?
That's it.
That's weird. It's not actually telling me that. Anyway, okay, good. So I'm glad I'm getting, so you can see agenda SKIP 2025 Legislative Forum.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, so we're just gonna run it from the top. So it starts at 1 o'clock. I will kick it off. I'm just gonna do a brief introduction about why we're all there. Talk about the agenda, what what participants can expect over the next 90 minutes. Talk about the end time at 2:30, the table organizations that we'll have, who's in the room, and then we'll do an icebreaker, and that icebreaker will likely just be folks standing up, introducing themselves, and saying something about themselves, although I need to give it a little bit more thought. So be prepared to have it be a surprise to you at that point. A good surprise though. And then at 1:08, I'll turn it over to Mayor McLeod as the host city for the event happening in Tukwila at the community center. I think it makes sense for him to kick it off and welcome everybody there. And say a brief few words about the importance of SKIP to Tukwila. 1:10, then Mayor McLeod will turn it over to Mayor Ralph, who will provide that history of SKIP and a little bit about the Housing Capital Fund. But basically, we're looking for an overview of SKIP. So some of these folks likely don't know about SKIP. So a lot of them do, but there's going to be some folks that are probably coming to hear what we're up to and learn more about us. So we would touch on, why SKIP was formed and our key milestones. Talk just a little bit about the Housing Capital Fund and its impact on affordable housing. We will definitely have call outs about us using those revenue tools, the $1406 and $1590, and to thank the legislature for those. And then of course, anything else, any other personal touches, Mayor Ralph, you would want to include in this, and we can work on that offline as well. At 1:20, supporting South King County and SKIP in 2026. We've got Councilmember Lovell and Councilmember Schroff representing SeaTac and Maple Valley. This is an intentional SKIP. And both are doing pretty creative, great things, I think, part of this collaboration. And I just really love the idea of highlighting, the bringing those voices front and center to the table too, as part of our coalition. So that would be talking about our legislative priority, talking about our needs and the lack of resources that South King County has, and just really uplifting and highlighting that we want to be partners with the state and with the legislature to address these challenges. So trying to keep it positive, and trying to highlight and nudge that we do want to be involved in this process with them to make a difference in addressing these shared challenges. At 1:30 then, we would transition to the roundtable discussion. So enough like people at the podium talking, and transitioned to those discussions. And so we would have, we're thinking probably 5 tables of 6 to 8 folks at each one. And this would be a mixture of board members, staff work group members, other city staff that might be there, and the elected officials. And hopefully we will have enough elected state delegates to have at least one at each table. That would be amazing. And so those conversations at the roundtables would then be facilitated by you, the board members who would be at those tables, and you will use the flyer, the legislative priorities flyer, which we'll talk about in the next agenda topic, and also the legislative forum talking points. So that includes information all about all about SKIP, all about the Housing Capital Fund, all about the projects that we funded in detail. And so I think those talking points are pretty comprehensive and should hopefully give you enough to work with. But then, of course, feel free to, you know, be natural in your communications as well, and not totally scripted. So we will do the first roundtable from 1:35 to 2 o'clock, and all of the tables will be doing the same topic at the same time. So we would start with the Housing Capital Fund and focus on those. You know, discussing the overall housing needs. It's 308,000 affordable housing units needed across King County by 2044, and within South King County, we need 31,000 alone. So that is a huge undertaking, and highlighting those Housing Capital Fund projects, their impact. In those talking points, I've listed the award amount and which cities have funded them, so that they can really see you know, that collective impact on this work, and how important the revenue that they've provided us to use, what kind of an impact we're making in that. For the second roundtable, we would then shift at 2 o'clock to talk about the legislative priorities, or I should say priority, and really just highlighting this. We've got more talking points in the legislative forum talking points for you there. But I would really just highlight these items here of how, you know, talking about the importance of home ownership, about preservation of naturally occurring affordable housing. And then you do have quite a bit of detail in those talking points if you want some assistance there. And then, so this would be just a slightly shorter roundtable, 20 minutes for the legislative priority versus 25 for the Housing Capital Fund. At 2:20, we would stop the roundtables, kind of circle back, and I would just kind of ask each table to share out one thing that they learned or were inspired by, anything that is kind of bubbled up for them as well. So I think that would be important to hear from folks, especially the state delegates, on what they're thinking after learning all about this, learning all about SKIP in our work. And then at 2:30, we'll pass it back to Mayor Ralph to close us out, and to thank everyone and conclude the event. That's the agenda. So let me switch back to my slides because I just have a few questions for you now. Let's see. I believe I can do this. All right. All right, you should see those. All right. So for question 1, I have already confirmed this right before this meeting from 2 speakers. So I will be crafting specific talking points for each of the speakers, and then sharing those out with the speakers. And then so my ask is you please review those, and if I have brackets or something like that and a note, like please add personal notes that you think about what you want to write in there, and if you have time and are interested, you can send them back to me, or if you want to provide feedback, I can work on other, I can improve them, make them sound more like you, however you'd like, whatever is helpful. Question 2 here. Are you, the board, able and willing to invite the state delegates assigned to you in the outreach spreadsheet? And I heard lots of excitement from you all. So is anyone feeling like, no, I don't think I can do that. I think I heard the information I need, which is, yeah, we got this, Claire. So I'm seeing no hands. So I think we're good there. Lots of thumbs. Thank you. Thumbs up. And then how do you feel about individual cities' government relations staff attending? This was a question that came up, and I just wanted to see how folks thought about that. Is that something you were thinking of inviting folks about, or should we not because maybe they don't know Skip the way you know Skip? Help me understand your perspective.
I think it feels less intimate, less relational, less conversational if we have a lot of staff. I love staff. Staff are great, but I think it just makes it feel really full and maybe would present fewer organic opportunities for electeds to talk directly to other electeds about these issues.
Thanks. Any other thoughts?
Seeing thumbs up. I'm not seeing
Okay.
any hands.
Got it.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure. I think maybe a couple of our cities actually have people that do that as a job. I know Kent does not have a government relations person, so and I think probably most of our smaller cities don't as well.
Okay, sounds good. So just for consistency, I'll try and communicate out that, we know folks might be interested in attending, but it's really for the Skip board to engage, that's really the purpose. So thank you. And is there any additional information you need or want in the general legislative forum talking points? And those talking points, again, were sent August 13th by me. And if it would be helpful, we could review those. I have it, I could pull it up, but
Any questions or concerns on those talking points? Not seeing any hands, Claire.
Great, wonderful. All right. All right, so in terms of next steps, I will invite our partners at AWC, HDC, and the governor's office next week. You will send your invites out to the state delegates next week, or today or this weekend, whenever you'd like. And I will draft those specialized talking points for the speakers. I should have those in the next few weeks. So I would anticipate early September.
Victoria.
Thank you. In regards to who we're inviting, I did have one question or one thought, which is because I know that even though we're sticking to our state representatives and senators, we were planning on also inviting the interim King County executive. And I read an article in Seattle Times recently that was talking about, so the two front runners for that position right now that made it through the primary, there was an article talking about how much importance they're placing on housing and how they're less than thrilled with the Regional Housing Authority and all that. And I thought, would it make sense to invite, because one of them will be our new executive, do you think it would make sense to invite them as well, just to familiarize them with us?
My thought is, I think in this political season, it might be a little challenging to have, those like political folks that are vying for that position attend. I mean, I like the idea, and I think a couple months back, when we were brainstorming all this work, we had originally maybe considered adding, King County Council members or federal delegates. And the conversation at that point was, let's just keep it at the state delegate level. So that would be my thought, but it's up to the board, but what you guys want to do. And
Are you taking into account this would be a public meeting and therefore, I don't know the amount of people that would come, or even as was mentioned, candidates, but there may be even staff that say, well, it's a public meeting, I want to hear what's being said.
yes, it is a public meeting and we're not going to record it. And we've talked with our city clerk about, you know, how to how to handle all of this. But it'll be noticed as a special meeting. We can't, you're right, we can't prevent anyone from coming, but we can kind of frame it and message it in a way where, you know, we're getting the folks that we want in the room and you know, having influence in that way. So yeah, good point. Yeah, so if folks do show up, we will be very welcoming, of course.
Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Ralph. I would actually like us to reconsider this because I think with what is happening at the federal level, and we've talked about budgetary crises and federal funding and those spheres, it's more important for us now to be regional in all ways on all levels. And I stand by, like, maybe we don't need our federal representatives, but if we're going to be inviting state legislators like we're doing, I think we should invite the King County Council. I think it would be really smart of us to invite all of them because they have a buy into this game. And I know, like, we're a state that has elections every year. I mean, several of us have elections right now, like, and we're going to be going to this forum. So I don't feel like that's enough of a reason to not invite the King County Council in its entirety. I think all of them should be aware of what's going on with South King County Housing and Homelessness Partners. And I think that they should be as informed as our legislators and being part of this conversation. And that is including the reality that one of those two King County Council members is going to be the King County Executive, right? But if we invite all of them, it's about having a conversation at the regional level, which is what this is about. And I think we should reconsider having King County there just because I think they are an important aspect to the conversation and important partners for us to be working with.
And, you know, King County is a member of SKIP, right? So,
but I mean, putting those invitations out there, like we're talking about right now, that's what I'm specifically speaking to.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I'm happy to do it, but I would like the board members' thoughts on this.
Any thoughts or feedback on that?
I do have thoughts, and I just am not sure what they are yet.
Eric, I was doing the same thing, trying to formulate. I would be more comfortable with something in the middle, which would be Claudia and Girmay, if that was really the goal. The larger King County Council, I think just we're talking about a pretty big group at that point. And we are limiting it to the legislative representatives that are South King County. So being consistent in the who's being invited at that point. Christina.
Yeah, I was also lots of thoughts, but really trying not to lose our focus here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would love to get literally everyone in that room. But if we make it messy, it's better not to do it at all. We want them to walk away with the few that do come. I'd really love for them to walk away with like a really good aftertaste, you know, something they can, like just an effective meeting. And once we put more bodies in there, I think we kind of we dilute that. That's just my thought.
Yeah, and it is a legislative forum, and it is the legislature that has been both helping and harming us the most the last few years.
Totally understand, and I appreciate that. I think I respectfully think that in conversations like this, more people in the room is important. And as someone who has worked in a level of messiness and social services and direct service by people who are unhoused, people who are at risk of losing housing, people who are directly impacted by what we're doing, messiness is necessary, right? To have these hard conversations a little bit. And I don't think going along just to get along is always effective. I think we need to have hard conversations, and this is a forum. And I think we're having a lot of different legislators that are gonna have a lot of different opinions. But I think adding at least the compromise, to Mayor Ralph's point, maybe just like the South King County, or the East and South King County council members, those that have cities that are bought into this game, because they are legislators as well. And I believe, as a member of this board, even more so, they should be included.
I have a thought.
Perfect.
Gurmai and Claudia both have a lot of friends in this group already, and people who talk to them really regularly. I don't think that there's a missed opportunity of sharing with them about Skip, just because I think that could be done almost any time. But I do agree that the invitation is meaningful because they're going to be in a new capacity soon. But I agree too that it could be politically fragile. The only reason I'm speaking up is just to say we have close relationships and access there to talk about Skip, or even have like a special meeting with the new executive, when that's known. I think that would be easy to come by. So I just wanted to point out, I don't think it'll be a missed opportunity, but the timing is maybe more of the question. And I do think it's appropriate to invite them, if only it weren't an election year.
Sonari.
I wasn't focusing enough on when you had the spreadsheet up of RSVPs and where we are on no's versus yeses. I mean, I think I have this kind of sense of, are we going to end up outnumbering attendees, right? Like, because it looks like we're about split right now. It's hard to say how the rest of this list is going to fall. But just going on a numbers thing, I would sort of want to make sure that it felt like we had enough audience for what we're talking about, as opposed to when we sometimes feel like there's more of us than there are people to listen to us. So that's my thought. In terms of, I would appreciate any logical sound reasoning on who we invite from county council that I can say we are doing with a neutral hand, so that I can, protect my job. But for the most part, yeah, we have the list of who overlaps with South County, and we obviously have the folks who are the front runners, who emerge from the primary. So those are both helpful screens. And they get the regular reports from, I think you all know we treat the council kind of updates a little bit differently at the county, given the size and scale. So they get the quarterly reports from me, and I can always reach out if they have questions, but we don't regularly bring Skip up at the county council, if that makes sense.
Carmen.
Sorry about that. I agree with all that's being said. I will add this, because I'm just being totally transparent. When Eric is saying, well, if it only wasn't an election year, right? I'm up for re-election. I have another event at Seattle U that same day. And now what I'm hearing is I shouldn't be at the forum because no. And let me finish my thought. I understand, but we're saying because it's an election year, it's going to get messy. People are going to we're making all of these assumptions. I also, because I have a full-time job at Seattle University, I have fall convocation for staff. I'm going to my boss. I was going to go to my boss and be like, hey, do you mind if I miss convocation for this forum? But what I'm hearing from some of our members, that people who are up for re-election shouldn't be attending. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so I would hopefully can add some clarity. I don't believe that that was it. It was the election specifically between the county executive race. It would be, we're not talking about inviting candidates or not inviting those of us that are on the board that are up for election or not. It was really, I think, specific to that executive's race. There's legislators that are up for election this year because of appointments and those kind of things. I don't think it's election specific. I think it's that particular role.
I totally appreciate that clarification. Thank you, Mayor Rouse, and thank you so much, because it wasn't starting to kind of make me feel a little uncomfortable. So thank you. And trust me, I understand how contentious it's going to be a big race. It's King County Executive, but that's also why I think it's important to probably bring them both candidates in as early as possible, because it's the first time in over half my life, right? I've known Dow as executive for God knows how long. And now we're going to have a new one there. They're both city council members or county council members presently. And so I just think at the risk, I think we can trust Girmay and Claudia to keep it cute. I think we can trust Girmay and Claudia to keep it profesh. I think we can trust them to come with good intentions, because we have the intentions of bringing them into the fold for an important conversation, discussion, because one of them is going to be running King County come January, right? And then that's just what I'm saying then. And that's all I'll leave it at. I totally appreciate everyone's conversation. I totally hear everyone's points on this, and I really do appreciate it.
I think if we want to maintain our political neutrality, and we are considering inviting some council members, we might just consider inviting them all. And honestly, the chances of everyone being able to attend is probably really low. So if we're worried about, too many bodies in the room, I'm not, just based on the initial kind of outreach, electeds are, as many of you know, calendars get full very quickly. Alternatively, we could just invite those South King County council members, the ones that fall in those districts. And I don't have the map pulled up, so I couldn't tell you if the two executive candidates fall in that, but I know, council member Deshawn Quinn does. So who has been an advocate of Skip. So those would be my thoughts. So seems like there's three options. No, not inviting any King County council members, inviting the South King County council members, or inviting all of them. And it really is up to the board to decide how you want to do it.
Any strong thoughts on those three options? Brian.
Thanks, Mayor. If we're inviting all of the county council, and they're a member of SKIP, and we should probably be inviting every elected official of the member cities as well. Because if I have my own council member, who finds out that another SKIP member was invited and they weren't, then that's a problem. So I would try to limit this as much as possible.
Yeah, I see that. The point is, if you're inviting all of the King County council members because King County is a member of SKIP, then you would be looking at inviting all city council members and mayors that are member cities. And I think that becomes problematic. Then you run into the possibility of special meetings for each and every city, and it gets to be very, very complicated.
Sorry, I had to run away to get some groceries. I think, though, as much as we are a member of SKIP on behalf of the places in South King County, we also play a different role in the broader housing ecosystem, particularly I think when it comes to funding and policy leadership. So there's, a role in the Affordable Housing Committee, Growth Management Planning Council, as well as just the funding. And so for that, I think, ensuring that when regional actions are being undertaken, that elected leadership understands the needs portion and what is happening in South County makes sense. I will agree that I don't think, based on their how many of them request briefings when we used to offer them in-person briefings with Angela, or even virtual briefings. Like, I don't know that we're gonna get a super big turnout. I could be wrong, but I think thinking about, how to have a couple of folks attend, keeping the invite list small may make sense. But yes, open public, so everything becomes, as soon as you have quorum, right, everything becomes an open public meeting.
Yeah, which gets to be complicated.
We all have one big public meeting jointly together.
All right, I'm not 100% sure, you all, that we've got consensus on any particular point. Had we agreed previously to invite the current executive? Is that?
No, we had talked about way back when we first started, we had talked about making this a broader and scope.
Larger, right.
And then we decided on just the state legislators.
So for me, I think that answers the question, is keeping it legislative, but Victoria.
Thank you. It looks like I really did open up a can. You're welcome, everyone. But as I'm saying, so I would say then the first point is I thought we were inviting just the current, the interim exec, which is what made me think, which is what clicked off when I read that article and started thinking about our two primary winners. And I was going to say, if this is something we're not sure about, could we maybe do a little survey email so that we have time to kind of sit and think about it? However, if that's not the case where we are inviting her, maybe I'm circling back to maybe it is best to keep it streamlined, keep it a little bit smaller. We're not that far out to start making big changes. And but I do love the idea somebody brought up. We could maybe at one of our meetings, maybe we invite our new county executive and make sure, because we can talk to them, we can talk to any of these guys. It doesn't mean they're feeling the full impact of what SKIP is. That's what this is for, to bring them in the room where they're sort of immersed in what we are and what we've been doing. But I believe I'm changing my opinion, and where it would be better to maybe invite them separately and keep this more our state legislators.
Okay, so how about this? Anybody in strong opposition to keeping this at the state level and finding additional opportunities to engage with the county? Okay, I am not seeing any strong opposition to that, so let's move forward with that plan.
Thank you. All right. So that's it on this topic.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is our legislative priorities. So at our meeting in July, the board modified the SKIP legislative priorities for the upcoming session, and we're going to review that new flyer that includes this year's priorities. So I'm going to turn it back over to Claire.
Super, thank you, Vice Chair. So at our July Executive Board meeting, you determined that you liked our priority from previous years with a slight improvement. We're gonna show it right there. So that language is before you on the screen and is SKIP's 2026 legislative priority. And that is South King County is facing a growing affordable housing crisis. In order to address this crisis, we need to fund aspects of affordable housing that include home ownership for moderate income households and below, preservation of naturally occurring affordable housing, or NOAA, land acquisition to secure permanent affordability, permanent supportive housing, infrastructure around affordable housing developments, workforce housing, especially smaller sized units below 60% AMI, and family sized units at all income levels. So I made one minor change from the language that you saw last month. I removed the comma before that include, which does not change the meaning, but seemed to be more grammatically correct. And, oh, let's go here. All right, so we worked with the staff work group on ideas for updating our legislative priorities flyer. Using last year's flyer as a base. The flyer was sent to you on Wednesday, August 13th at 5:12 p.m. And I'll share my screen shortly so that we can check it out together. The flyer is intended to be used at the legislative forum for those roundtable discussions and as a handout. And then even after the forum, the flyer can be used when you meet with your state delegates about your own city's legislative priorities. You can also incorporate it into your own legislative agenda, as many cities have done in previous years. And the legislative forum talking points are intended to cover both the forum and the flyer. So let me share my screen with the flyer. 1 minute, let me switch over. All right. All right, are you seeing the flyer?
We are.
Great. All right, so, and you have this in your calendar invite for this meeting as well, if you needed to take a closer view than what you can see on my screen. But overall, we've got the legislative priority here at the top. We have a little bit about our work, just highlighting really the key information, the number of housing units that we have funded, the dollar amount that we have pooled, and the number of cities that have accomplished this. And then we thought it would be good to highlight our projects. So we have the 3 here that we have finished the contract work on. We've closed on these 3 for our funding, which is why they're highlighted here. So that's Victorian Place 2 in Des Moines, Burien Miller Creek in Burien, Burien Family Housing in Burien. And then at the bottom, we have our future projects, White River Apartments, Skyway Affordable Housing, Pandion at Star Lake, and Kent Multicultural Village. So really just a very brief high-level snapshot of the project. And I think these are 3 really good examples of kind of the diversity of work that we have going on. We have a small rehab project serving households between 30 and 50% AMI. We have a construction project for owner occupancy or home ownership, serving folks at an average of 50% AMI and up to 80% AMI. And then we have new construction for rental housing. So we're kind of covering a broad variety of projects. And the information on the left is information that should look familiar. This is kind of how we always, in any of our promotional materials, we're including this, who we are and our purpose and our contact information. So that's the flyer.
Thank you, Claire. Any questions or input? I appreciate the outlining of the projects and showing the work that we're actually accomplishing. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. It looks really good. I'm wondering if there's a opening timeline for Burien Miller Creek that we could throw in there, along with under construction. Do they have like a projected opening, at least a quarter of what year?
Yes, I can get that.
I think it looks wonderful. It's very informative, concise, simple to read.
Okay. All right, I'm seeing a lot of consensus, Claire. Thank you for the work on that.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. All right.
Nice. All right. Then I think we're ready to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is our 2025 Q2 report. So in accordance with our ILA, staff provides quarterly progress reports and a budget update, serves as an accountability and progress overview, as well as a resource for all of us to inform our member councils and other interested parties. So we are ready to hear the Q2 update highlighting April, May, and June.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So you received a revised version of the report on Wednesday, August 13th at 5:12 from me. So this should be considered the final draft version, replacing the one originally included in your agenda packet. The revised version captures additional expenditures that weren't included in the previous version. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Right. All right. Can you see that? All right. I got a thumbs up. Thank you. All right. So the 2019 interlocal agreement requires that the executive manager submit quarterly budget performance and progress reports on the status of the work program to you, the executive board, and that it be shared with the legislative body of each of your jurisdictions. As is our agreed upon practice, this document will be sent to the staff work group members to distribute to your legislative bodies in the way that works best for each jurisdiction. So Q2 was spent delving into the short and long-term vision of SKIP. You adopted the 2026 work plan and budget. You adopted a reserve policy, and we started discussions about a SKIP 5-year plan. Other notable accomplishments include executing the contract and loan documents on the Mercy Housing Northwest Burien Family Housing Project and submitting finalized drafts to Habitat for Humanity for the second award on Burien Miller Creek. We've been working hard to organize the legislative forum forthcoming, as you are well aware. And SKIP was the recipient of 2 Affordable Housing Week proclamations. And I had the great opportunity to meet with the Governor's Office on Housing Policy to provide feedback on a draft statewide housing strategy for the upcoming legislative session. SKIP was also represented at over 60 regional meetings representing 18 unique groups. These were primarily attended by Dorsal. And thank you to everyone here. You have all contributed in your own way to this important work. And I hope you will be excited to share this report with your councils. So let's go on to the budget. All right. So beginning with operating revenue, let me make this just a little bigger for you. Okay. So these figures should look familiar. And these are the annual member contributions. The only exception is CTAC, whose amount is slightly higher than their member dues, given their contribution to the update to the SKIP Affordable Housing Dashboard. The interest earnings through Q2 totaled approximately $228,000. So that is also something to be excited about. The Housing Capital Fund contributions totaled approximately $3.4 million. And combining the interest earnings with all the resources contributed by our SKIP members totals just over $4 million. Operating expenditures total $199,000 with an estimated ending fund balance on June 30th at $886,000. removing this year's interest earnings from the ending fund balance leaves us at $658,000. So you'll notice that the $501,000 accounted for down here. All right, so this is the reserve amount that you adopted recently. Even though that amount was adopted for the 2026 budget, and in anticipation of that, I wanted to include it as a line item rather than rolling it up in fund balance, so that you can clearly see it here. So capital fund expenditures total $1,019,000 with an ending fund balance of $13.6 million. That number should tell you why we are earning interest at the high level that we are. So you can see the new line item this year, capital projects right here. There you go. So now that we're getting getting our capital award dollars out the door, we wanted to include that line item for you there. And then the expenditure details for the capital fund can be seen down below in this new table, which you saw in Q1. And then this will just keep expanding as we spend down the capital fund dollars. So you can see the expenditures by project down here. And so that is the Victorian Place 2, the rehab in Des Moines, and the Burien Miller Creek Homeownership Project in Burien. And with that, I am happy to take any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Claire. Any questions on the activities or the current, where we're at currently with budget? Sonari.
Another question, more of a comment. I was excited to see that capital fund detail in there, and I'm wondering if whether annually or quarterly might want to supplement this report with like a little, here's all the projects we funded, here's where they are in the pipeline, or something like that to kind of show the progress as units are coming online. I'm wondering if other folks, councils might be interested in seeing that as an indicator of progress. Like we've waited a long time to come to this moment where the money's actually going towards units. And I'm wondering if that sort of thing would be helpful.
Would be nice to have that all in one place. I saw a couple thumbs up there float up the screen, so.
Yeah, happy to do that. And I feel like I've heard that suggestion long ago and thought it was a great idea then, think it's a great idea now. So yes, would be happy to provide that beginning Q3.
Thank you. All right, any other questions on our second quarter report? Okay, I am not seeing any hands raised at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to our added item on our agenda, which is TWG, which that's the Pandion project over by the Star Lake Station, right in between Kent and Federal Way. That project has seen some challenges and ups and downs and has changed considerably since funding was awarded to them. And so Claire is going to provide us with some updates on that today.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So regarding TWG development, SKIP awarded Pandion and Star Lake almost $2 million over the course of 2 funding cycles. TWG is experiencing some challenges right now, and the Pandion project is not going to be able to move forward with TWG as the developer and receive tax credits from the Washington State Housing Finance Commission for the next 3 years. So the Pandion project is also experiencing an additional funding gap, but they are applying to Amazon this funding round. If TWG is successful with that Amazon application, they intend to apply to the county's new regional workforce housing bond program in lieu of LIHTC equity next summer. And alternatively, investigate the possibility of transferring the project to another developer who could leverage the LIHTC equity through the commission. If they are not successful in securing Amazon funding, this funding round, there is no project, sadly. So we should know by the end of October if they are successful in that Amazon award or not. And TWG has asked that we wait until knowing the outcome of the Amazon application in late October until making a decision about whether to rescind their award or not. If we learn that TWG did not secure an Amazon award this funding cycle, we may be able to reallocate those funds for this year's Housing Capital Fund funding cycle. If timing aligns with all of the various things in play. I've communicated some of the challenges TWG is experiencing to Mayor Ralph and staff at the City of Kent, since Pandion is located there. But most of the information I just shared was based on my conversation with the lead project manager of Pandion just yesterday, late afternoon. Based on my conversation with the developer yesterday, my recommendation is that we wait until the outcome of the Amazon award this funding cycle, anticipated by the end of October, to decide the status of the SKIP award. And ideally, timing would align so that should we rescind the award, those funds can be reallocated to the current funding cycle. And I think it's really important that we are practical in how we approach this, but that we are also demonstrating that we're willing to be a good partner and work with our developers on this. So that is a lot of information for you, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Sonari.
Not a question so much as a clarification, which gives me pause about how they're representing themselves. There is no regional workforce housing bond initiative right now. There is an implementation plan that we wrote. The upshot of the implementation plan says that a bond proposal as designed will not work without additional revenue separate from just our bond authority. So at a minimum, 20 to 30 million that we would need outside of our current revenues. So it is highly unlikely that there would be anything to apply to next year. It would require council action both on authorizing the bond program itself and additional revenue to accompany it, or some other demonstration project that they may come up with. But I just want to make sure folks are clear on that, because that definitely caught my ear when you said it, Claire.
Thank you.
And I would just chime in that TWG does currently have land use permits in with the city. They have not withdrawn those permits or had any direct communication with us or notified us that it's not moving forward. I feel like it seems unlikely given sort of the circumstances. There are probably some last chance things that they're working on, particularly with that Amazon money. But the city would also agree that we not proactively rescind the money and wait until sort of this piece of the process works itself out, but then come back and have a whole additional conversation about rolling it over. I've got lots of thoughts on that, but we're not at that point yet.
Great. So it sounds like in October we will know more. And we may not hit the October executive board meeting when we have more information. And so it may be at the November meeting that you are making the decision at that point. And so given the timing of our Housing Capital Fund awards and the advisory board's meeting, I think they meet on November 6th. We will be as flexible as possible and in anticipation of whatever might happen with that award. So just giving you a heads up about how there may or may not be additional money, depending on how the board feels about the status of that award by that time.
Right. Any other questions on this? Okay, I think it looks like we will hold steady, stay tuned, and hear back at the end of the year. Okay, well, that brings us down to our last item, which is updates and announcements. And I know that Claire has a few things she would like to share with us before we adjourn.
Yeah, thank you. So I've got a few pictures to show from Habitat for Humanity's Burien Miller Creek. They sent over some really lovely pictures, and I wanted to share all of these with you. So here is one. You can see the construction is happening. Here's a kind of wider angle view of the entire construction site. You can see how the homes are kind of on the periphery. It's just looking really beautiful. Here's another angle. And another. And then my favorite picture is the interior. I think this is really exciting. For me, when I saw this one, that's when it felt real. Was imagining someone in their kitchen with, you know, a finalized view out the window with what I can see to be as a beautiful fence, and just getting really excited about this. So wanted to share those with you. As this was in one of our first projects, and we've made 2 awards on that. So excited to be able to share those with you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And then regarding a few other updates, so the Housing Capital Fund pre-application meeting. So we've received 6 intent to apply forms and held the corresponding pre-application meetings for this year's funding round of the Housing Capital Fund. That application deadline is September 3rd. So if you're interested at the legislative forum, you can just ask me the status of it, who ended up applying. But so big picture, there are 2 proposed projects located in Renton, one in SeaTac, one in Federal Way, one in Burien, and one in Kent. Half are rehab projects and half are new construction rental projects. I gave you a pretty in-depth summary of the projects last meeting, so I will just provide the name of the projects and the developer for your awareness today. So those include African Community Housing and Development, or ACHD, proposing the African Diaspora Cultural Anchor Village in SeaTac. The Mental Health Housing Foundation is proposing Steel Lake in Federal Way. St. Stephen's Housing Association is proposing Steel House in Renton. Bellwether Housing is proposing Renton Sage in Renton. And Archdiocesan Housing Authority is proposing the rehab of Franciscan Apartments in Burien. And then lastly, the Multi-Service Center is proposing the rehab of Maple Lane Estates in Kent. Regarding the groundbreaking for Burien Family Housing, that is happening September 19th at 11 a.m. And yes, that is the same day as our legislative forum. Please let me know if you're interested in attending that groundbreaking. I know that Liz Steed will be attending on behalf of the city of Burien. I'm so excited about that. But if you are interested, please let me know, and we'll get you added to the invitation list. Regarding the advisory board candidate interview, so we have 12 applications to fill 7 seats on the advisory board, which includes 4 seats occupied by current board members who are applying to remain on the board. We're holding interviews next week, and the panel made up of the SKIP chair, vice chair, along with Maria Arns of the advisory board, will recommend the successful candidates for appointment or reappointment at the October executive board meeting. And then my last item, just a final reminder, the in-person legislative forum in Tukwila is going to be in lieu of our September 19th executive board meeting. And so I look forward to seeing you all in Tukwila next month. And that's all I have. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Claire. I am looking forward to both that ribbon cutting and that in-person legislative update. I think good ways to celebrate all of the amazing work that SKIP is doing. So I'm going to see anybody else have anything for the good of the order before we adjourn. Right. I am not seeing any hands. Thank you all for consistently showing up for these conversations and being actively engaged in them. I really do believe it's what makes us better as an organization and allows us to continue the fantastic work that we're doing. So thank you for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you in September. We are adjourned.